everyone. I hope you guys can hear me. This is my first time doing this, so um, bear with me for a little bit while I figure out if you guys can actually hear me. Okay, so welcome, Wonder Walkers. I'm excited that you're joining me today. What I'm going to do today is to celebrate a little bit this beginning of the Deck of Wonder sort of festivities. The site, the page itself won't be live for a few more days. So I wanted to kind of introduce you guys to the deck and let you know what's to come and what to sort of anticipate. And also, I want to show you what the first round cards are like and what I would do with them. So let's hang on a second while I get my cards. Okay, let's see. So if you have been following a deck of Wonder Walking for a while, you would notice that these cards here, they're walking cards. It's kind of like an Oracle card deck, or if you have one of these bird cards that you pick out to sort of spot birds, just sort of like that. But essentially, it's a walking deck. So what I mean by a walking deck is that these cards, when you draw a card, it's meant to inspire you to walk out in nature. And there's several ways you can do it. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about the first round so you can have a good idea of what it is. And so this is the second edition. The first edition was sold out last year. And so I wanted to be able to do a couple of upgrades and introduce these cards to a wider audience, hence the Kickstarter. So if you haven't backed a Kickstarter project before, basically Kickstarter means it's all or nothing. Funds, I set a funding, and then I will promote the project and introduce it to as many people as possible. And if we meet the funding goal, then these cards will go into production and they will get made. So I need all your help to share this project to make sure we meet our funding goals so that these walking cards can go out into the world. And so that's as far as Kickstarter, and you'll find out a little bit more when the page is actually live, and there's a comment section there that you can leave me questions and I will answer them when the Kickstarter is live, which is 30 days. So that's it for just kind of a little housekeeping on why I'm doing Facebook Live today. Also, it's the new moon today, and new moons are great for setting intention. And some of you might know that I moved to a new part, California. It's the Central Coast, and I'm surrounded by beautiful nature. And I do want to walk a lot, but I want to reconnect with nature even more than I have before. And if you, like me, feel the same way, if you're a creative soul or you're somebody who's been feeling a little restless because there's so much going on, you're on the internet all the time, you have an online business, or you're distracted, there's so much noise around, and you just want to find some stillness and some sort of like a space to breathe, whether it's one ritual, one walk, or a walk, then my hope is that these cards will sort of give you a little bit of guidance on what you can do on your walks. Because sometimes we go out there and we're not sure if, what am I supposed to look at? Where am I supposed to go? If you're not familiar with being out in nature, it can get a little overwhelming, or it can feel like I don't want to go out today because it's just like, it takes effort to go out go out the door. I'm just going to stay at home, look at my phone. I do. So that's why I feel like the deck of this deck of Wonder Walking cards is really important, because it gives us a little bit of push, a little bit of guidance to go out there and explore. And when we go out and actually walk, that's when we discover things, and that's when we come to get to know who we are as a person, how we feel about the places around us, and I get some of my best ideas for painting, creative project out on a walk. So I hope that they will give me the same kind of insight. So as far as the deck itself, if you don't own the first edition, the deck is actually organized into 4 realms. The physical realm, the creative realm, the truth-finding or inner realm, and the influence realm or the secret garden. So if you're familiar with sort of symbolic quartets, like if you own tarot cards, you're into Carl Jung, you might see that this loosely corresponds with their system. So meaning, and this is purely by accident. I guess that's why they're archetypal. The physical realm is related to the sensing from the Jungian functions. It's also related to the earth and the alchemical system. And the creative realm is all about intuition. It's about passion and fire. And in this deck of Wonder Walking, it's about creative expression. The inner realm is familiar to a lot of us here. It's about truth finding, about getting to know the depths within us. And in the Jungian function, this would be feeling realm, emotions and feelings about how we feel about things. And the last realm is called the influence realm. And this is the realm of the intellect, the realm of thinking. So in a sense, these cards are organized loosely around this realm. And I'm going to share my desktop so you can see a little bit of what I mean. So 1 second. Can you see this? Yeah. Okay. Sorry, bear with me for a second. I'm figuring out how to do this. Okay, so you will see there's 4 realms, and the cards are loosely organized. You know, around these realms, there are 4 suits of cards, and you'll see the colors shifting from one realm to another, and there's a whole symbolic language related to that. And it's okay if you choose not to use these cards that way to inspire your walks. But if you do, then there is kind of a guideline. And let's see. So what I'm going to explain right now is the physical realm. And the physical realm is the first realm, and is the realm that I am most connected to in this deck of cards, because it's the realm of cards that these paintings that I've chosen specifically relate to how to awaken your senses in the outdoors. So we have flora, we have fairy worlds, we have synesthesia, we have height, we have discomfort, we have pareidolia, we have disruption, and we have story. So these are the cards of the physical realm, and you can make up your own. You don't have to follow this, but for me, it's easy to look at them that way, because then I know when I draw a card that this is belongs to the realm, and that I'm supposed to think about my walk in terms of how do I engage my senses. Like if I pull the story card, then I have to think about, okay, this is a story card, and I'm out. How am I to relate the story with what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, what I'm touching, and maybe what I'm tasting. So you can carry a little notebook with you, and you can journal your thoughts out in nature along your walk by sort of recording what you see, recording what you touch, and kind of try to tell a story, whether it's fictional or just just recording like the events as it happens, and sort of try to make it a little story. Or you can look at sort of maybe a house on a hill and sort of imagine, I see this house on a hill, and it reminds me of this fairy tale I heard, like, where there's a little house on a hill and it's really magical, and maybe there's a witch that lives there. And, you can make up these stories as you go on a walk. And the story card would be great for that. One of my favorite cards is discomfort. So when you pull discomfort, it's a card that tells you to create a scenario on your walk or go on a type of walk that scares you a little. It pushes sort of what your comfort zone is. Maybe it's walking in the dark in a forest. It could be sort of, if you're afraid of the water, maybe dipping your toes into the ocean a little bit, or go somewhere, within, be careful of your safety, where you have forced to walk by yourself if you're afraid of, spending alone time. So it's kind of, it gets you out of your comfort zone and it makes your senses come alive, at least in my experience. Every time I go on a walk that's, uncomfortable, I may not like it initially, but I always get so much out of it. And in the end, I have, incredible fodder for paintings, incredible insight for journaling, for writing, for sharing. So it's my favorite card. And anything else? Let's see. Some of the other benefits I'd like to consider these walking cards are it's kind of like yoga for the mind, if you will. It's walking meditation. It's very healing for me because there've been many times when I felt lost, and just by going out on a walk, it's changed the way I see things. It calms me down. And especially when I'm busy thinking about my senses and what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, what I can touch, I'm not thinking so much about, problems I might be having with a painting or problems I might be having with trying to, tackle a project. So your mind sort of turns off and it relaxes, and epiphanies come up, from within. And so you're sort of getting to know yourself as you're getting to know the world around you, which is wonderful. So if I want to take a little bit of time at the end of this Facebook Live to answer some questions. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to type them in. I think you can type them in the comment section, and I'll be sure to answer them. If you want to know a little bit more about cards or packaging, or what's the difference between the first edition, the second edition, or even stuff about Kickstarter. Let's see. Okay, so what else can I introduce to you? Oh, the field guide. The field guide is accordion folded. So this is the first edition one. In the second edition, I would be including meanings to the cards. In the first edition, I wanted to be sort of an intuitive guide, so that if you can just use the cards, I provide a general guideline. You can sort of look at the cards and say, okay, how do I interpret this? And be sort of more spontaneous about it. But I thought I'd share a little bit more about how I was inspired, and by the meanings, by the card prompts. So I'm going to do that in this new edition. And I also am working on an expanded guidebook, a bigger one, which will be journaling and prompts and activities, and that will be a separate guidebook that you can choose as one of the reward tiers in the Kickstarter page. I have a question from Lindsay. She bought the Wonder Walking deck last year, and wonders, how is it different from this one? It's a great question, especially for those of you who own the first edition. So there's a couple of things that will change, but first I will point out the similarities. We'll have all the same cards from the first edition. I might change the back. That's kind of something I was discussing with those who are in my insider circle and Facebook event. And but even if I change, it won't be very much. I add a little emblem here. And the pocket field guide will change a little bit. When you got the first edition, it comes wrapped with a little ribbon, and it comes with a brass magnifying glass. It's a little cute little thing. In this second edition, at the very basic level, and if we don't unlock any stretch goals, it won't come with the brass loop, but it will come with a rigid box. So this whole thing would sit in a little protective rigid box. And the finishes are different. The cards will be printed on completely different stock, and the field guide would be slightly redesigned so that it's not sort of wrapped around cards. And something that I'm really excited about, especially for those of you who own the card deck, is if we do reach a milestone for the funding goals, I will be including a 16 card expansion set in the reward tiers. Hopefully this is something that you can buy separately if you've already owned the deck. I'm still sort of trying to negotiate the pricing with the printers. So if we do have this, we make the stretch goal, then that will be a 16 card expansion deck for those of you who own the first deck. But if you don't own a deck, the 16 cards will be automatically added to the existing deck. So I hope this gives you a better idea of how it's different from the first edition. Victoria wants to know, she's curious about the expansion set of cards in the second edition. Will they be new additions to the 4 realms or cards of a different new realm? That's a good question. It will be, at least for now, it will be within the 4 realms. I like how it's loosely organized. It's not something you necessarily have to do this way, but as for now, they will be in the 4 realms. I am planning on 4 cards per realm in the expansion set. So, but things might change. If I get inspired to do something a little crazy, a little different, I'll be sure to let you guys know inside your circle. Cindy wants to know, I would love an expanded guidebook. Will it be available to purchase on its own? And use it with a first deck? Thank you, Cindy, for your lovely words. I'm excited about the expanded guidebook. For one, to have it, even as a digital form, would be so helpful to go deeper into the process of wonder walking, open up so many possibilities of what you can do when you're out in nature. But also because I want it to be a physical book. Now that's going to be a stretch goal. So we hit a funding goal, and then there could possibly be a printed book. So as far as whether it could be bought separately, I am trying to plan the campaign in a way that there will be an add-on menu. So I'm working with a third-party pledge manager to organize that, meaning that you can pick items from the menu. You pledge a certain amount, and then there's a menu of standalone sort of a la carte items that you can choose, like the 16 card expansion set, expanded guidebook, things like that you can buy separately. So that's something I'm trying my best to work on, because I know, especially for those of you who own a first edition deck, and if like myself, I bought a deck, I don't want to have to buy a new deck, I'd like to be able to have add-ons. So it's something I work on. So I'm working on. So thank you for asking that. Lindsay says, it will be really cool to buy extra cards to add to my current deck. Yes, I'm working on being able to have this expansion card set, something that you can buy separately. Now, if I do change the cards, the card backs, I might arrange for the printing to be separate so that you get cards that match your first deck. We'll see about that. It depends on how the campaign goes and how many people are actually interested in having the standalone expansion set. So in that case, if we get a lot of you from the first group wanting to have this set that is the same style card, the same style back, the original set, then I might arrange to print it separately with the original printer. Let's see, do I have any more comments or questions? Looks like I've gotten it all. If does anybody else have any more extra questions? Some announcements. I have a couple of goodies planned. So for those of you who are like waiting by a computer, waiting for the page to go live, I have early bird specials. I will be setting the price a little lower for early birds, early birds, and I will be there will be some surprise note cards. So I'll be choosing a surprise note card for early birds. This is an octopus. You guys who follow me would recognize these as another deck I'm working on, hopefully soon. And I will be sending each early bird a special surprise note card from this. Come with an envelope. You can frame it up and use it as a totem animal art on your desk or something like that. And so look out for that. So be sure to keep an eye out for when the Kickstarter page goes live so you can hop on the early bird special. And the other thing that I have coming up is I've got some wonderful interviews lined up with first edition deck users. These are kindred spirits, and I'm really excited to have a conversation with them on how they use their deck, because we all use them slightly differently, and I'm excited to hear how what these cards kind of evoke in them, whether they use them in their spiritual practice or to take them out on a wonder walks, if it's a journaling or creative prompt. So look out for these interviews that I'll be having as part of my weekly gathering when the Kickstarter page is live. All right, so I think that's it. I am excited to finally share the page with you. So by email or Instagram or Facebook, and I will chat with you guys here, and I will introduce a different round next week. Bye, everyone.